Hello everybody, my name is Kirsten Schemberger and my presentation is on preventing workplace violence. So what is workplace violence? Workplace violence refers to violence which is either a physical act or a threat that increases a health risk or safety risk to an employee or employees. Individuals that can be involved include employees, clients, customers, visitors, and there's actually 4 different types depending on who's involved, and I'll go over those later in the video. What is considered workplace violence? So workplace violence can include threats, which can be either verbal or written, harassment, verbal abuse, and physical attacks. So threats, which would be like shaking fists or threatening somebody, possibly throwing an object at somebody, causing or attempting to cause harm. Harassment would include anything that makes somebody feel unwelcome, such as bullying or using intimidation. Verbal abuse includes anything that is spoken, such as swearing or insults. And then physical is when a person physically touches another person, such as hitting or pushing. So there's 4 types of workplace violence. The first one is criminal intent. That's when the perpetrator has no relationship to the business or employees. An example would be somebody robbing a bank or somebody taking a gun into a facility and starting to shoot. The next one is customer or client. This is when the violent person has a relationship with the business. An example in healthcare would be a patient or family member punching or verbally assaulting a nurse. The next one is worker on worker. And this is when the violent person is currently an employee or a past employee. So this would be such as 2 nurses getting aggressive over something they don't agree upon. Personal relationship, which is the last one, that's when a violent person has no relationship with the business, but has a personal relationship with the victim. An example with this would be a domestic abuse in the workplace. So there's multiple risk factors for workplace violence. The first one would be working with unstable or volatile people, such as individuals that work in a mental health field. The next one would be working alone or in isolated areas. Another risk factor is stressful environments, handling money, valuables, or prescription drugs, such as a cashier or pharmacist. They're at increased risk for being involved in workplace violence. Working in a community-based setting, such as a hospital, and depending on the location of the facility, it could also increase the risk of workplace violence if it's an area that is prone to crimes. So there's multiple different early warning signs that could show you that you could possibly be at an increased risk for workplace violence. These include an individual crying or having a temper tantrum, an individual missing work or coming in excessively late, if they have a disrespect for authority, a decrease in their work performance, blaming others for their mistakes, maybe staying isolated from other employees, holding grudges against others for a particular reason, including the supervisor, and if an individual starts to get anxious and defensive. Therefore, if they're showing any of these signs, you might want to keep your distance away from this individual. So there is many issues related to workplace violence. The biggest issue is that it compromises the safety for the employee. I'm going to relate most of these to healthcare since most of us are in the healthcare field. So it can actually convert nurses into patients and even cause them to have a permanent disability or even death. Another issue is that many people look at workplace violence, especially in the nursing profession, as being part of the job, which is not appropriate because everybody has the right to be safe in the workplace, and it is not appropriate for it to be an accepted part of the job. Another issue is that it can start a conflict between what is the duty to the patient and the duty to yourself to keep yourself safe. So some more issues continued is that nurses personal safety is compromised, as well as patient care, and the quality of care is also compromised. Another issue is that workplace violence, especially in healthcare, is on the rise. According to the American Nurses Association survey, there was 43% of registered nurses and nursing students that have been verbally and or physically threatened by a patient or a patient's family member. And according to the National Nurses United, there was a 110% increase in the rate of violent incidences in private hospitals between 2005 and 2014, which that's extremely a huge increase. So due to this increased rise in workplace violence in healthcare, it's very important to know your workers' rights related to violence. So the U.S. federal law dictates that an individual is entitled to feel safe in a workplace environment, as well as know their health and safety hazards. It's also required that employees receive information and training about the hazards and methods to prevent an issue from occurring. And then OSHA states that they have the right that they can report any injuries, hazards, or concerns about an employer without retaliation. So ways to prepare and prevent workplace violence. So I separated this into two categories, which is nurse managers and other professionals. Even though it says nurse managers, it's pretty much standard for any manager in any position, ways that they can help their employees in relation to workplace violence. So managers should encourage workers to report any concerns that they have. That way they can help them raise awareness, as well as they might be able to educate them on ways to avoid a possible injury. Managers should participate in safety and health committees. That way they know the best policy and know what's going on. They should also provide support to their employees in case an issue does occur. And they should know policies and prevention programs within the organization. That way they can pass it on to their employees. Other professionals, the biggest thing is speak out. So, like I stated earlier, there's many people that think it's just a part of the job, and that is not appropriate. They should alert supervisors of any concerns that they have and report all incidents as soon as possible through the appropriate reporting procedure. They should also, if there is an issue, they can seek out resources and assistance. This could include hospital security, nursing administration, providers, risk management department, or an ethics committee. They should also diffuse the situation if they feel like something is going to happen. So if you see a patient that is starting to become agitated, maybe back up, speak calmly to them, and try and simmer the situation. Employees should also attend safety training and know their policies related to workplace violence. That way, if anything does occur, they are prepared and they know what to expect and how to move forward in their workplace.
I'm Cipriano, President of the American Nurses Association. Nurses expect to work in environments where they will be treated with civility, kindness, dignity, and respect. But here's the hard truth. Bullying and workplace violence are real problems in healthcare. Violence of any form should not be tolerated from any source. Nurses and employers must work together to create strategies that will shift the culture to one of civility and respect, where bullying is not tolerated and where violence prevention and safety measures are a priority. ANA has released a new position statement on workplace violence and bullying that offers recommendations, including setting a zero-tolerance policy, encouraging employees to report violent incidents, and developing a comprehensive violence prevention program. Creating this type of culture helps protect the health, safety, and wellness of nurses. And that's in everyone's best interest. Learn more about this issue and get resources to create best practices at nursingworld.org. ANA cares about you. Working together, we can create a safer and healthier work environment.
Hey, here's another safety tip from Vivid Learning Systems. My name is Chris, and I'm here to share some knowledge and help you connect workers with safety. According to OSHA, 2 million U.S. workers are victims of some kind of workplace violence. Many people think of shootings and physical abuse when they consider workplace violence. But statistics encompass threats and intimidation towards a colleague. Early warning signs of workplace violence are when a person is intimidating, bullying, discourteous, disrespectful, uncooperative, verbally abusive. Here's how you should react to early warning signs. Report threats or suspicious activity to your supervisors or the police. Document concerns and observed behaviors. Here are some of the signs when situations become escalated. Argues with customers, coworkers, or management. Refuses to obey policies and procedures. Destroys property. Verbalizes wishes to hurt coworkers and or management. Sends threatening notes to coworkers and or management. Engages in physical fights. Displays extreme rage. Utilizes a weapon to harm others. Some of the ways you can react to situations like these are: remain calm, leave the area and contact your supervisor. If you are directly confronted by a potentially violent person, talk to them. Stay calm, maintain eye contact, stall for time, and cooperate. If you are threatened with a weapon, freeze in place. Never try to grab a weapon. Remember, 911 is always available if you feel that outside help is needed. Sometimes workplace violence doesn't always take place in the workplace environment, but over the phone. Here's what you should do if that situation happens. Write down as much detail as you can about the caller, like accent, background noise, pitch of voice, their gender, and if possible, where they are calling from. Immediately report the call to your supervisor and law enforcement. Workplace violence is a serious threat in today's jobs. Work together as a team to help remove these situations and enjoy a positive work environment. Until next time, stay positive and stay safe.
So additional information. The first link is from the video. That's from the American Nurses Association, where they recommended their policies related to workplace violence and their prevention recommendations. The other two resources are two great resources that go a little bit more in depth than what I went over in the video, such as risk factors and what workplace violence is. So these are the references utilized in my video. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope you learned a little bit about workplace violence. Thanks for watching.